So now that we've clarified that, if we're going to be utilitarians at all, we have to be act utilitarians. We can't make any special reference to rules such as never punish the innocent. Here's a case that I want to suggest is one that will at least put a good amount of pressure on the utilitarian theory, and then we'll see whether it breaks. Suppose, for example, that a terrorist has planted highly explosive, extremely powerful bombs all around the great city of Chicago, and they're all set to go off right before noon today, and you're the mayor, and you've just been notified of this. We have no way of finding the terrorist, and we have no way of defusing the bombs in time. And if we just try to tell everybody to evacuate the city, we've only got about an hour. If we tell everybody to evacuate the city, it will probably cause a huge amount of stampeding, terror, chaos. Many, many lives will be lost. But one of your advisors comes to us and says, well, we do know where the terrorist's daughter is, and this terrorist has a special, the only person in the world for whom he has any special feelings is his daughter. And we're in a position in which we could take her out of preschool. We know where her preschool is. We could put her on a camera and start torturing her. And our psychologists tell us that that's really the only way, but we know it's a very viable way to get the terrorist to break. Because it's only then, watching his daughter being tortured on television, live TV, that the terrorist will come to us and tell us how to defuse all those bombs. So now as a mayor, you've got to make a choice. Are you going to allow the terrorist to let those bombs go off? You might say his daughter is innocent. She didn't do anything. Why should we torture her? And by the way, this form of torture has to be pretty serious. It's the kind of torture that could put the daughter within risk of losing her life. You've got to make a choice. Are we going to grab the daughter and start torturing her even though she's perfectly innocent? Or are we going to just let things go and hope for the best and say, sorry, I didn't plant the bombs, it's not my fault? Utilitarianism seems to require that we torture and, if necessary, sacrifice the daughter if we're doing so makes us think that we're likely to get the terrorist to break and to defuse the bombs. Yet, imagine you're genuinely in the mayor's position. Would you be the one who makes the choice, who gives the directive to go find that daughter and start torturing her? You might feel that doing so would be immoral. Many would say that doing so would be wrong no matter how much utility would be produced. That is to say, some people would say torturing an innocent girl, innocent child would be immoral no matter how much utility would be produced in doing so. The numbers don't matter. This is just wrong, period. So now we have a fairly definite clash between what I take many people to have to be a fairly strong moral principle. Torturing an innocent person is just wrong, period, no matter what, on the one hand, and saving what might be 500,000, 700,000 lives of the people who live and or work in downtown Chicago inside the loop. We've got to make a choice. Utilitarian theory has a clear implication, I think, that you need to grab the daughter and do what you can with her in order to get the terrorist to break. But is that your view? Is that what you think is right? If you think there's something wrong about doing that, about doing so, then it sounds like you're perhaps not any longer a utilitarian, even if you thought at the beginning of our discussions of this ethical theory that you were. Notice also that an advisor to the mayor to you might say, sir or madam, if you don't torture the terrorist's daughter, the deaths of at least perhaps 1 million Chicagoans will be on your head, for you will have had the opportunity to prevent these deaths and yet did nothing. So if you are faced with that charge, you might ask yourself, well, therefore, would I be morally responsible for the death, and in a sense perhaps be morally responsible for killing all these Chicagoans because of my refusal to take action? This is what's known as a moral dilemma. No choice of the choices you've got available is one that you can feel very comfortable with. Of the choices that are available, something, no matter what you do, it's going to be awful, or likely to be awful. But you still should try to decide what you would do in a situation like that. And as you decide what you think is right or wrong, what the appropriate course of action is, you can use that gut intuition on your part as to right and wrong as a way of deciding the adequacy of the utilitarian theory. If you think that torturing the daughter would be wrong, even if doing so is likely to save a great many lives, but you want to say, no, it's wrong no matter what, then I submit to you, you are not a utilitarian after all.